Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here. We are breaking down some of the top Cowboys training camp winners and losers so far. The Cowboys set to resume practice later today. Then they got joint practice on Tuesday against the Rams. So we're roughly halfway through training camp, so it is the perfect time to check in on those winners and losers so far. Before we dive into that, we are early in the month of August. It is a new month, and that means new like battles. Let's finish number one across all the different chat sports channels in likes. Help us out by liking today's video right now. For the winners, we're going to go in positional order and not have them ranked or anything necessarily. First up is the quarterback. That is the starting quarterback, by the way, Dak Prescott. A couple good days in a row kind of last week to kind of wind things down and wrap things up. Has had a lot of success hitting some deep balls. Kind of slower to begin the deep ball success, which isn't uncommon in training camp in general, and this was certainly true for the Cowboys as well. You know, the defense tends to have the early advantage, but especially the last, couple practices in a row, Dak has looked sharp, looked efficient, accurate, getting through his reads even quicker. So overall, very good stuff from the Cowboys quarterback. Most importantly, he's healthy, which is probably the biggest factor. I don't think Joe Milton has been as good as Dak Prescott, which again, that's not supposed to be a surprise, even going up against the twos more than anything else. But there has been some positivity. There has been some good stuff from Milton with how he has looked. The general refrain has been pretty consistent. Big arm, great mobility, shows flashes, holds the ball a little bit too long, which has always kind of been his thing and been his issue. So I think overall positivity as it relates to Milton looks better than Trey Lance did, to be clear. Could have gone with a lot of backs. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders got most of the run early. Deuce Vaughn flashed. But now that we're further along into training camp, Jaydon Blue continues to get more run with the ones, which matters. Jaydon Blue has been the beneficiary of Miles Sanders being a bit nicked up, Deuce Vaughn being a bit nicked up. Kind of got him bumped up to the ones in the running back. Or in the running back room alongside Javonte Williams. That's a big deal for Jaydon Blue. And big deal for the Cowboys because if you can use his explosive playability, that could be a big boost for the offense as a whole. So far, who is the biggest winner at Cowboys training camp? We'll get to one player who I think has been the best, and then another player who I think has been the biggest winner. But let me know at the pinned comment of today's show who has been the biggest winner so far at Cowboys training camp. Let's go to Hunter Luepke, and I'm going to go in the words of Brian Schottenheimer essentially here because it is very clear that Schottenheimer loves Hunter Luepke. Here's what Schotty said on Luepke. Hunter Luepke is an incredible football player. He really is. It's amazing. Just his instincts for the game, what he does and what he brings, and the fact he's able to play 3-4 positions is incredible to me. I can't say enough great things about him. When you're doing your roster projections, put him on there. He's a lock. As always is the case at training camp, lots of wide receivers is another element that should absolutely be discussed here. And we'll go in depth on a variety of what those receivers are. I don't want to rank them necessarily, but there have been several standouts here. CeeDee Lamb, I think, has been the best player at Cowboys training camp, which again, no Micah Parsons, that's what you would expect, right? George Pickens has had some very strong days so far. Kevontae Turpin is kind of a gadgety receiver running back, but involved heavily role has looked great. Last couple days, if we had done this video last week, I would not have mentioned Trayshawn Holden. But he has put several good days in a row together. Jalen Cropper has shown some flashes. I think Jonathan Mingo's had a couple decent days. Probably need more from Jalen Tolbert, though. Let's go to the offensive line now. Nathan Thomas is next up here. And this is, again, a big beneficiary of what we'll get to on the loser side, injuries galore. But Nathan Thomas is benefiting from the injury to Tyler Guyton, and he has kind of taken advantage of where things sit along the offensive line. He's been getting the first team reps. Not Awesome Richards at left tackle with Guyton out. It's been Nathan Thomas, the big boy who Cowboys moved to guard under Mike McCarthy. Now he's back out there at tackle. I think this will do like players to watch during the preseason. That guy is super high up on the list. Before we dive into more winners and the losers, this Cowboys cutoff hoodie is still on sale. Was $55, now it's $33. over with our friends at Fanatics. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. Was $55, now it is just $33. That's chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. Over to defense, and I probably argue Jay Toya's had some good success, more with the twos. So is Perrion Winfrey. I think he's probably done a bigger job of pushing for his role and making the team, where I thought he was behind Toya going in. I'm not sure that's the case necessarily. Still a lot to be determined, by no means set in stone. The Cowboys just seem to want disruptors and penetrators, and there's talent with Perrion Winfrey. It's the other stuff that's always been the bigger issue for him. But I know Todd Archer's had some praise from him, and whenever Todd mentions something, it's certainly worth keeping an eye on. I think one of your top 3 training camp winners is this guy, the second-round rookie, Donovan Ezeiruaku, who at times has been just unblockable. I am extremely excited about Ezeiruaku in year 1. I'm not to the point where I'm going to let my expectations get out of control and insane, but I think you have to play him some. I think you have to give him chances in passing downs to get on the field, even if that means taking off a Dante Fowler or Marshawn, whatever. He is too disruptive so far against all different players. It's not like I would be like more concerned, okay, he's just beaten Terrence Steele, or he was just beating Guyton, or he was just beating the third stringers. He's beating everybody in pass rush reps. Not every time, obviously. There are still wins for the offensive line, but he looks really darn good. Let's go to Marist Liufau. With no DeMarvion Overshown, with Kenneth Murray missing some time, I think Liufau's done some good stuff. He and Zamone Clark, frankly, have, I think, helped solidify their roster spots at this time. I do think having Matt Eberflus should be a benefit in the long run for Liufau in terms of being a piece in this linebacking core. I don't know how much he's going to get to play in the regular season. We'll see how that depth chart shakes out with Murray and Sanborn and all those players. But I do think Liufau has shown some really interesting things and looks better than he did as a first-year player. The single biggest Cowboys training camp winner for me is probably the single biggest offseason winner for the Cowboys. That is Kaiir Elam. The former Buffalo Bill corner has consistently made plays. He has consistently found a way to step up, make moments happen. He has been, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best players so far at Cowboys training camp. I have been impressed. He breaks up passes. He's had several interceptions. It has been a massive stock up so far for Kaiir Elam. We'll see how that continues against the Rams in joint practices, if he plays at all in training camp, but I feel very confident that Elam is going to be one of the Cowboys starters on the outside at corner to begin this season. So are you buying the Kaiir Elam hype? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section of today's show. Y for yes, N for no. Let's go to Zion Childress. I think Elijah Clark has also done some good stuff. But Childress he was specifically shouted out by Brian Schottenheimer. Pretty much all the guys we're discussing here at some point got some love from Schotty. But Childress was the one that kind of almost out of his way to an extent made sure to mention. UDFA has done safety, has done some nickel corner stuff. I am excited to see him, Elijah Clark, all these other back-end DBs play in the preseason, once the Cowboys get going on that front. We'll also mention both starting safeties. Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, again, specifically called out by Brian Schottenheimer. With Wanye Thomas banged up, again, we're going to get into the hurt guys listicle here later on, but Wilson and Hooker have been the starters. They've been the guys that have been involved. That's been a positive sign for the Cowboys. I know there was uncertainty about specifically Donovan Wilson's roster spot kind of going in, entering preseason. With Wanye Thomas banged up, I kind of feel like it's a pretty safe slot at this point that Donovan Wilson is going to be on this team. Malik Hooker is going to be a starter as well. So 12 winners. We will get to our losers here. We'll only go, it's 4, but there's also more, kind of like 10 when there's more than 12 winners. Before we get into that, hit that sub button if you haven't already. We've hit 218,000. Thank you guys so much. We will have preseason watch parties for you on the channel as well. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. The losers, it's the hurt guys. There's no other way to go into it. There's a lot of hurt guys. That's the issue on this Cowboys team. A lot of them have been banged up. That's a problem. Savone Revel, Trayvon Diggs, Josh Butler, DeMarvion Overshown were all the pre-existing injuries. Kind of feel like Diggs is the closest to returning, which is not what I thought it was going to be in terms of, I thought Revel would be back soon. We'd mentioned that. Not looking great for a week 1 return for Revel. Maybe for Diggs. Other injuries. Offensively, Miles Sanders bruised his knee. Maybe he's back soon, but he missed a few days. Deuce Vaughn, hopefully back soon with a hamstring. Paris Campbell went to IR, kind of an IR stash on that front. Brevin Spanford with a high ankle sprain. He's missed time. We'll see when he ends up getting back. Hakeem Adeniji is getting closer, I think, to a return, but he's got a concussion. Matt Waletzko was waived injured with his ankle injury. There's that. Rob Jones is going to miss 2 to 3 months with a neck issue. Tyler Smith has knee tendonitis. He's missed a couple days. It wasn't as bad as we feared for Tyler Guyton, but he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks from when he first suffered the injury, so back around week 1. He would have been on the winner's side had he stayed healthy and played like he had played early in camp. Andrew Booth has a hamstring. Kalen Carson also going to be questionable for week 1. We'll see what the timeline looks for him in terms of actually being healthy for week 1. Wanye Thomas has been battling a hamstring. It's a lot of injuries for the Cowboys. I think it was up like 300% relative to some previous years. Physical camp tends to happen. Big loser, of course, is the Micah Parsons saga. What a mess this has been. This whole thing is just stupid. We've done several videos on it. I'm sure we'll have more questions on it during our live show and mailbag later today. It's just dumb. It never should have reached this point. You could have been proactive and gotten this one squared away months ago, weeks ago, but you just tried to weirdly hold what wasn't even an offer to him. It's been a mess. There's no around. It's been a mess. That's the only way to describe it. And it'll probably get sorted out, but it's stupid we keep doing this every single offseason. So who has been the biggest loser then at Cowboys training camp? Got a couple names we'll discuss here as well, but let me know in the comments section of today's show, who do you think the biggest loser has been so far at Dallas Cowboys training camp? Could be the Micah, could be Jerry. Jerry, I think, is certainly a valid answer on that front. Let's go to Mazi Smith. And I don't think he's maybe been as bad as some of the worst clips have been. There have been some good moments as well for Mazi. But I kind of don't like the path this Cowboys team is taking with him. Again, we're going to do it's fine to have him drop 20 pounds. Really? We're doing that again? He's listed at 337. He ain't 337. He's maybe 315 right now. That's kind of the rough weight he had given. So we did that once already. We already did let's have the end result of Mazi Smith losing weight, whatever the actual process was there. My confidence has been shaken. I hope he can make some impact. I want to play him a bunch in the preseason. I think he needs the reps. Finally, tight end Luke Schoonmaker. I know there's been some praise from media, some media, he's looked good, but I'm I haven't seen any clips of Luke Schoonmaker. Kind of like Tommy Akambasote. I haven't seen a single clip of him. Not a single one has he looked actually good. There was a fumble. I think there's a couple different pros and cons for Schoonmaker. For starters, the Jake Ferguson extension is bad for him. Means he's never going to be tight end 1 on this team. Brevin Spanford's injury does help him, makes him tight end 2, but I think Schoonmaker's been mostly quiet. So I just think impact-wise, I have my doubts.